Good morning, all. Welcome to this week's edition of THSP's Toolbox Talk. My name is Will Reeves. I'm a health and safety consultant for THSP. Today, we'll be doing a Toolbox Talk on handheld electrical tools. Now, the purpose of this Toolbox Talk is to obviously remind all site workers of the correct and safe use of handheld electrical tools and to explain the legal responsibilities under the UK health and safety law. Now, before we get into it, there's 5 main bits of relevant UK legislation for this. First one being the Health and Safety at Work Act 1974. Section 2, the Health and Safety at Work Act, states that employers must provide systems of work and safe equipment, whereas Section 7 states that employers must take care of their own health and safety and cooperate with employers. The second bit of legislation is the Provision and Use of Work Equipment Regulations, PUWA, 1998. This requires that all tools are suitable, well maintained, and used by trained workers. The third piece of legislation is the Electricity at Work Regulations, 1989. This states that employers must ensure electrical systems are safe and maintained. It also says, and it requires, suitable precautions are taken against electrical shock and fire. Fourth article of legislation is the Personal Protective Equipment Regulations, the PPE Regulations, 1992, as amended. This states that PPE must be provided free of charge and suitable for the task and that it is used properly. The last article of legislation is the Control of Vibration at Work Regulations 2005. This requires risk assessment and control measures for hand-arm vibration and power tools. Now, some hazards to consider while using these articles of equipment are electric shock, especially if using 230-volt tools or if the casing is damaged, cuts and abrasions from grinding, sawing activities, and or using drills, flying debris, eye injuries from sparks or chippings, trip hazards from trailing cables on site, noise and vibration, the risk of hand-on vibration syndrome, and burns from overheated tools and or sparks. Now, we have some control measures in place. So before usage, visually inspect tools and leads for signs of wear, damage, or exposed wires. Using 110-volt tools on site through center tap transformers. Always using RCDs, which are residual current devices, to prevent electric shock. And confirm that the tool is fit for purpose and only used by trained personnel. During use, we have some further controls to implement. So avoid working with electrical tools in wet conditions unless they're IP rated. Keep cables off the ground and away from sharp edges or water. Maintain a firm grip and stable footing. And use both hands where appropriate and ensure that guards are fitted when working. After usage, you should ensure that all articles are switched off and unplugged before changing blades, discs, or bits. Tools are stored safely in dry conditions. Report and tag out any tool that is damaged or faulty. Now, some general good usage is tool inspection. Always inspect tools before use for damage of cables, plugs, casings. Ensure that guards are in place and are fully functional. Tag out and report any damaged articles of equipment immediately. For voltage and power sources, always ensure that 110-volt tools on site with the transformer are always used. Never use 230 unless absolutely necessary and authorized. Wherever possible, battery-operated tools should be utilized above these 2 other options. RCDs, or residual current devices, should be utilized wherever possible. Ensure all tools are connected through an RCD or a built-in circuit breaker, and that RCDs are regularly subject to testing. Cables and positioning. Ensure cables are away from heat, water, and moving parts. Route cables to prevent tripping or entanglement. PPE, the last resort in the hierarchy of controls. Ensure eye protection, goggles or face shield are used wherever possible and required. Ensure that they're suitable for the task. Hearing protection for noise generating tools wherever necessary. Dust masks and respirators if cutting materials like MDF, concrete, or any type of wood. Training and competence. Ensure only trained and competent persons are using power tools. And you should always ensure to follow manufacturer's instructions. Safe working practices. Secure your workpiece before cutting or grinding using either a vise or a bench. Keep a firm grip on the tool, with both hands. If it has a safety device, ensure to use it, for example, a grinder handle. And do not use tools in wet conditions unless they're absolutely rated for it. Again, that is in IP form. Always remember to stop using any tool if it overheats, emits smoke, or vibrates unusually. Do not ever bypass any safety features or modify tools. And always ensure to unplug tools before changing blades or discs. Thanks very much for attending.